All right, all right. We had a little last-second catastrophe in the kitchen. Dropped a Diet Pepsi and it went flying everywhere, wide open. Give me just a second here to get a few things pulled up real quick. How's everybody doing tonight? Great show to Napoleon. Really enjoyed the beginning there. My dad was actually listening when he mentioned Clay's dad's store on Lynch Street. That was 7 different kinds of cool. So, all right. Here we are. We are here. Got everything pulled up. Say hello to my wife, Crystal. She is going to be joining us tonight. We got the mic. We're here. Hope everybody's having an amazing Friday night. We're going to jump in hot, man. We got a little breaking news. Of course, I know when it breaks at 5 and we don't go live till a little after 9, you've probably already seen it, but we're going to pretend you hadn't and we'll go into detail. Right at about 5:30 or so, JPS announced that they have canceled football and all fall sports for 2020. I don't know what else they consider fall sports. I'm not sure if that includes basketball or not.
I'm not sure either. I haven't seen that specifically.
So not 100% sure, but for sure football, cheerleading, and anything else that goes on. It'll be interesting to see if JPS, their basketball is a big draw for them. They're world famous for basketball here in Jackson. Some amazing basketball players have come out of this area. So it'll be curious to see if they hold strong there. JPS football has made a big comeback the last few years in 6A. So it will be interesting to see if what happens there. A lot of seniors that won't get to play their senior year in Jackson. That a lot of the guys that could already by their junior year, they've gotten their offers. If they're, 3, 4, 5, especially 4 or 5-star guys, they might not really be affected as far as their scholarships go. Development and stuff, is never a good thing to miss a year. The guys I'm worried about are, think about the guys that came on hot their senior year that you maybe hadn't heard of. And they miss that opportunity to get hot their senior year. Think about Chris Jones, that played at Mississippi State and now plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champion. I had not heard of Chris till his senior year. Now, I'm only sort of follow recruiting, but anyway, I don't want to dig too deep into that. I love football. I follow it at, probably deeper than most, but recruiting is not my thing. Steve Robertson, Jake Wimberly, Bo Bounds, that crew, that's really what they do. My good friend Beaver. Producer there at 105.9. Yeah. So anyway, food for thought, man. Praying for the JPD kids. Hope that everything works out for them and it doesn't impede their opportunities to play football. Y'all do me a favor. Y'all please share this video. We need as many people watching tonight as possible. I have talked my wife into being our co-host. We've rearranged the room.
Which is not my thing.
She hates the camera. But she brings so much to the table that I'm glad she joined us. It really is a lot easier to do this when you got somebody this pretty sitting beside you and smart to talk to. So it's a win-win.
Mandy said basketball is winter, I would think, but we will see. And let's see. Christy said, sad. A lot of these kids stay focused and try hard in hopes of a scholarship.
Yeah. It's going to be a bad deal for them. We're huge football fans. We're huge sports fans. It isn't just football. Mm-hmm. We watch everything here. Football, high school. We stream Brandon football games every Friday night. Pearl football games. We've always got a football game on in this house during football season. When the MAC canceled this week, that was our Wednesday and that was our midweek college football. So we're really disappointed about that. as most people are. I know our household is not unique in that matter, but it just sucks when it hits home, like the district of the capital city canceling the season. But I understand why. I do. I get it. I just don't like it. Can I agree with it and not like it? So prayers up, man. Thankfully, all the other districts are still playing. I would guess that Canton may cancel. I don't know that for a fact, but them and JSU. I mean, not JSU. That sucks that they canceled. But JPS and Canton have kind of been tied at the hip a little here. So I would guess that they probably cancel too. But fingers crossed that they don't. I've got a bunch of notes. I've got the computer up tonight because I don't want to misquote important stuff. Y'all give me 1 second. I need to grab one thing here. Watch Crystal.
I would have got it for you.
All right, I'm back. I didn't think with the new kind of setup here, I didn't know what would work and what wouldn't. Shout out to Troll Company for the blue collar versus everybody shirt. I paid for it, but I like it, so I want to give them a shout out. I think that really describes all of Jackson, really. Blue collar versus everybody. We're all blue collar, whether we want to admit it or not. This is a working class city, working class state. Hell, it might as well say Mississippi versus everybody. So you can check out trollco.com if you like this shirt, and they have a ton of other stuff. If you've seen me wear some of these hats with the flags and all that, a lot of them came from them. So, moving on. Let's something that kind of popped up late is the state fair. So we talked about it last night, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. But Commissioner Andy Gibson says the state fair is still on, social distance style. I'm going to quote, I'm on WLBT.com here. I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due for the article from Josh Carter. I believe that's their digital content director there. Coming soon, my friends, he wrote on Facebook earlier this week, less than 2 months out from the Mississippi State Fair, October 7th through 18th, 2020. Social distance style. You can find this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because I know y'all are not logged on to hear me read other articles. WLBT.com. We'll get it posted in the comments section here. Everything we discussed tonight, we will post in the comments section. Something that came across the desk late is our friend Dee Dee that works at WPBQ shared a Facebook Live video earlier. Shout out to Dee Dee. She is young and very tuned in to what's going on in the city, and we need more people like her, young, that care. I mean, I wish I'd been as focused as she is on Jackson's future when I was her age, but didn't necessarily see the need for it in my early 20s. So, on Facebook, and Crystal's going to share the link in the comments, Reggie Cummings went live earlier from Belvedere Apartments, right over there. Where's Belvedere?
Right across the street from People's Middle School.
Yeah, I lived at Belvedere. I always get them confused with the ones on over by the old Napa Distribution Center behind Allstate.
The little house right there,
yeah,
right next to it, it's a duplex. It's where I came home from the hospital when I was born.
Well, nice.
1979.
Yep. So Belvedere, Belvedere is right between Key, or right next to Key Elementary. There on Belvedere and McDowell Road, for some context. So Reggie went live earlier in front of a dumpster pile, literally a dumpster pile of garbage, overtaken by everything you could imagine. It's the absolute deplorable living conditions for what's always been a little older. I say always been older, you know. I guess they were new at some point, but a nice apartment complex. I mean, like I said, I lived there in the late 90s. It was my first apartment out on my own. Had some other friends that lived there. It was cool, man. It was like a Melrose Place, South Jackson style in the 98, 99. So anyway, deplorable living conditions there. The management company is nowhere to be found. And that management company is...
well, it's called BizTac, but it's Oakland Management
So
Here it is, right
Beztac and Oakland Management Company have abandoned their property as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and also online, when you look it up, it says, the office is open, but if you watch the video, he said the lights are all out, the office is closed, nobody's there.
So tell people how. So Crystal managed apartments for years before she got into nursing. That's her background, is property management. So
That's the management company. Right?
we will share a screenshot and a phone number here for Belvedere Cove Apartments. And one of the proudest moments we've ever had since we started this page is when we did the tour of the cemetery in South Jackson. The name of your grandmother's at?
Is it
Lakewood. Lakewood South, off Cooper Road. Not Cooper. Rainy Road.
Yes.
Savannah Street turns into Rainy Road when it crosses over Terry Road. The cemetery right there on the right if you're going west towards Forest Hill Road. We went through there. We did a video. We toured it. Deplorable conditions for our loved ones that have gone on to the next life. You guys blew their phone up like a bomb. And unfortunately, nothing happened because they blamed it on COVID. So apparently cleaning up in a cemetery is against COVID restrictions, but it's a hellhole. But they actually had to reply to us. We made such a dent.
They called me.
That they called Crystal.
Yeah.
With that said, let's do that here with Belvedere. This goes back to what we talked about the other day. What does Save Jackson do to save Jackson? Well, we don't have a magic wand, but we have the people. Just like Napoleon has leveraged his audience to make stuff happen. That's what we want to do. It may not be the same. A lot of our followers may not live in Jackson anymore. They may have moved out of Jackson. They may not have kids in schools here. But that doesn't mean we don't care. Well, we still live here, but we don't have kids that go to school in Jackson. But, so we can still help. It ain't all about getting in the comments and bashing Jackson. Let's get that out of the way. So, anyhow, we wanted to get that out of the way. Did you share that in there?
I'm trying to figure out how.
So I'll show you real quick. My technical prowess here. So you can just go to share there. Mm-hmm. Oh, I need to go to the... Well, they've already shared it to Napoleon's page there. So we're just going to share it to the main page here. Yeah, that's how we got it pulled up. So we got it shared we're going to share it to the main page. A little too difficult to learn on the fly. It's Reggie Cummings' video from Belvedere Apartments. All right, moving on. Where shall we go? Okay, so COVID in Rankin County. 2 teachers, and I tried to pull this video back up on WLBT's website. That was my original source on this. I can't find it. I'm sure it's still there. Surely they didn't take it down. Or not video, but the news story. 2 teachers at Stonebridge Elementary in Rankin County. Where is Stonebridge in Rankin County?
Stonebridge is off of 18.
So that's...
It's by the high school.
That's Crossgates, Brandon area.
No, it's by the high school.
No, but I mean that Brandon. 042.
Yeah.
042. Okay, so Stonebridge, for those who don't know, like myself, is 042 Brandon, which is I-20, Crossgates, that area. Several teachers, they didn't say 2, several teachers have come down with COVID. School is still scheduled to start Monday, the 17th, my birthday. They are not pulling the plug, for whatever that's worth. If your kid no children have been exposed, no students have been exposed because school has not started yet. It is ironic that the superintendent came down with COVID. Sue came down with COVID.
We're all praying for her.
Yep. So, anyway, Rankin County seems to have a COVID outbreak within the schools at the superintendent, administrative, and teacher level. Just food for thought. I know the Rankin County Caring Coalition will stay on top of that. Save Jackson will not need to get involved. If you follow any of those Rankin County Facebook groups like Brandon Uncensored, Let's Talk Pearl, any of that, the Rankin County Caring Coalition, or Rankin County Coalition of Karens, they got it locked down. I can assure you they will have COVID wiped out by 9 a.m. Monday morning, or their kids won't be there.
We need to correct that it's McClure Road, not Rainey Road.
I'm sorry, Lakewood Cemetery. Correction, Lakewood Cemetery is on McClure Road, not Rainey. I can't believe I did that. I got something South Jackson wrong.
I'm trying to do too many things at one time.
I want y'all to check out my wife's shirt here. Hulkamania. What you gonna do, brother? When Save Jackson runs wild on you. Alright, I couldn't resist. Alright, so moving on. If your kid goes to Rankin County, just a heads up. Crystal's daughter is doing the virtual learning. She has a daughter that goes to Brandon High School. So that was kind of one of the reasons they chose the virtual learning option for the first semester. It's kind of this thought process that something's going to happen. All it takes is one outbreak, and they pull the plug. Wanted to have the head start on virtual learning. It wasn't that we were necessarily scared of the COVID outbreak. It was the fallout of the outbreak and them pulling the plug and then having to get up to speed really quick. So with that said, just a heads up, food for thought. I guess I wish I had something better or cooler than food for thought is my catch line. Or I digress. I'm going to have to work on a catch line. Like, what you gonna do, brother?
Somebody said, step into a Slim Jim or something.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
That was Randy Savage.
Okay.
So, all right, we've covered the Rankin County schools. All right, so real quick, back to the mayor. We talked about this last night. There's some rumors, and that's all they are right now. Nothing substantiated, no confirmations. I'll find out when y'all find out. But there's some rumors that Chokwe may not run for re-election. And look, this is just Facebook chatter that I saw today, but this is going to be one of them things I tell y'all. It's all rumor and innuendo. But it's juicy, and I like it. I very rarely report rumor and innuendo, but they are saying in the Facebook comments that Benny Thompson is retiring, and Chokwe may run for his seat. I do not think he'll win. But with that said, and what do you put on your resume when you've been mayor of Jackson and through the 4 deadliest years of its existence? Not a single positive thing has happened under your watch. What do you put on your resume when you try to run for a different office? It's like, the whole thing, you're like lying on your resume and getting the job. That's what it feels like. Hell, that's what it feels like getting the mayor job or position or whatever you want to call it.
Christina says, shouldn't have been mayor in the first place.
No, shouldn't have been mayor. Should have stayed a lawyer. He's a smart guy. I don't want to knock him as a person. What I say about Chokwe is not about him as a human being. Have no problem with him as a human being. Maybe a great guy. Maybe a guy that I'd like to share a bush light with. I don't know. Never met him. Don't care. Don't really care to meet him either. But I'm just looking at what he's done as a professional and
his job,
and we're sitting here and almost 4 years into it, and I can't find anything good. All I can find are bad things. And with that said, it is time for another mayor.
Everybody's saying Clay for mayor.
Clay, look, I love y'all. It means a lot, but I would rather be involved with a solid administration. I just don't feel like I'm plugged in enough to come in and successfully. Jackson needs a full-blown adult. And
you're an adult.
And I'm not a full-blown adult all the time.
You are an adult.
But look, I would do it. Here's what I would do if I was mayor. If Clay was mayor, if I had the pencil, I would fire everybody day one. Or I know you can't just fire everybody, but everybody would have to reapply for their positions. The boss of the boss, whatever district, whatever, all the heads.
I agree with that. Would
all be demoted immediately into whatever the lowest available salary is. I mean, unless there's just somebody who's really stellar at their position. I mean, we're not idiots, but 90% of them demoted immediately, pushing brooms. And the guy pushing brooms has probably got a better grasp of what's going on. In my experience, the janitor and the guy working every day is the guy that's got a better idea of what's going on than the higher-ups anyway. Except when it comes to cooking the books and stuff of that nature. And they would about have to reapply, you know. I always see people, the city of Jackson likes to post these stories about, when I say stories, I mean like Instagram stories, Instagram posts, Facebook stories, and they're always like, hashtag paving season, SZN. Johnny Manziel, to the best of my knowledge, started that when it was like comeback season. Mm-hmm. So we should never brag about doing the most basic part of our jobs. As a city administrator, one of the most basic parts of your job is that we have clean water and the roads are paved. Police protection. These are very basic things.
Garbage pickup, sewer not overflowing into water supply.
That's another thing that's going on at Belvedere. I forgot to mention raw sewage everywhere.
Yeah,
kids are getting sick. Anyway, I don't want to backtrack here. Yeah. Let's keep moving forward. These are basic things that should be day one. You know, make sure you lock the front door when you leave the house type stuff. And it's not being done in Jackson. But they like to brag about these little things when they pave a road. Hashtag paving season. Hashtag doing your damn job. You know, I know the guy that runs the City of Jackson social media does not like me, is not a fan of what we do. Likes to always remind me that I used to own a nightclub. And somehow that's a bad thing. But anyway. So let's make sure that come election time, whether Chockway is running or not, that we get an adult in the... Do not pick on emotion. Really look at what they bring to the table, and let's vote for the right person. I'm going to try to get together with some people. This is kind of what I'm thinking outside the box a little here. I want to make sure everybody's got a ride to the polls that day. Let's get, if you had a van, an SUV... If you can help get some people without vehicles, the elderly, whatever, let's get them to the polling station. Don't care who they vote for. Republican, Democrat, black, white, man, female, transgender, whatever. I don't care. Best person for the job. We're going to look at all of our options, and we're going to get behind somebody. But we just want to make sure everybody votes.
Somebody says, who do you guys think would make a good mayor?
I'm kind of past your normal, not a single city councilman, rule all of them out. Not a single city councilman should even be a city councilman. So, out on that. Not a single Hinds County supervisor, out on that. I'm going to kind of follow Napoleon's lead. If you were listening to the Cypher Voice show before ours, he says we need a woman. I'm just going to quote him. This is not me saying this.
He said a white man or a black woman.
A white man or a black woman. I'm not as fixated on that.
No, I'm not
We
either.
need the right person for the job. And I'm going to kind of follow Napoleon's lead a little. I mean, he may pick somebody that I really don't like and can't get behind, or maybe I know something about. I will voice that publicly, whoever that may be, if there's an issue. But he is so plugged in that if there's somebody that really comes to the table and he's like, this is who we're getting behind and here's why, I'm going to listen to him. Now, I will still make my own decision, but I think that us guys that do what we do in Jackson, kind of fighting the good fight, we need to have a solid front, and we need to be pulling for the same person, if possible. So just kind of wait and see. I've heard people throw Jeff Good out there. I don't know, man. Jeff's a great guy. Always been really nice to me. But let's just be honest. Running some restaurants is not running a city. Like being a lawyer, it ain't running a city. That doesn't mean he can't do it. But I mean, I really think he's kind of the unofficial mayor of Fondren, and they've done great for Fondren. But I also know some things that I'm not a fan of. I had a friend that opened up a business in Fondren, and they railroaded him right out of there. I'm not saying that was Jeff himself, but I know that it was Fondren, and the business owners there did not like my friend having another pizza place there. It was about a half a block off from the main little drag there. but they made sure he got shut down. And if he had the money, he should have sued them. But suing people ain't that damn easy. You know, not every lawyer takes something pro bono.
You spend a lot of money trying to...
WLB3 on your side don't cover every story. You know, God, if I had $1 for every time somebody told me they were going to call 3 on your side on me. You know, but anyway, Jeff is more than qualified. I just don't know that I would vote for him. It just depends on who else is available. I do like the idea of a strong black woman in this city. Anybody pretending the racial aspect doesn't play an important role is lying to themselves. You know, in a city that's 90% African American, I think that a black candidate is obviously going to, have a foot in the door. A strong woman with political ties and, that knows what she's doing. I would absolutely get behind that in a heartbeat over any white male that comes to mind. I don't think there's a white male out there that has a chance of winning that I'm familiar with. And knowing Jackson like I know it, if there's an African American female out there, and I'm sure there's plenty that can make this happen. We need a big mama, man, to come in here and smack the crap out of some people and get them back going right. I don't know what's going on, but I would be 150%, 200% behind that. So that's where my heart is leaning right now. I just don't know who that person is. If you're out there and God is talking to you, answer it. The city needs you. We really do. Whoever you are, white male, black male, white female, black female, I don't care. We need a qualified adult.
I think COVID has made everything hard too.
COVID has. Well, also in this petty politics that it's worse than it ever has been. Mm-hmm. Nobody, anybody white that runs is going to get called a racist 37 ways from Sunday, and it may not be worth. They're losing their business and their livelihood over false claims of racism because they're white and wanting to run for office in Jackson. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my friend Hardy said Polo's attorney, her name eludes me off the top of my head here. I've got it written down in my notes somewhere. She would be amazing. That lady is strong as death. Sure. I would love to have her fighting for me. Somebody else said something here I wanted to read. Anybody that takes the time to write a whole paragraph in the comments, I want to make sure I take time to read it. Corinthian Sanders says, we don't need no more locals. We need a certified city manager or corporate executive running our city with proof and competency. Hallelujah. I agree. You obviously need... It sounds weird to be such a local person, and I feel like you need somebody that knows the city, but they don't have to be from here. They don't. I guess at some point, if you're going to run for mayor, you have to live here. I get that, and I don't always agree with everybody on the thought process of people that work here and make a lot of money necessarily have to live in the city. If they're the best person for the job, I don't know that I care where they live, as long as it doesn't impede them getting to work every day and doing the job. You live in Madison, and you're the best person for the job for Jackson, it doesn't bother me, but I get to where I completely understand where it will rub a bunch of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
I just don't care. But that's just me.
Well, a lot of apartment complexes back in the old days, used to require the manager live on property.
On site, yeah. Now, a lot of apartment complexes, they still will give discounted or free apartments to cops? Is that true?
Normally it's discounted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they're kind of like the on-call sort of guy.
Mm-hmm. We call them courtesy officers.
That's it, courtesy officers. Okay. Now, our neighborhood used to be Byram until about 10, 11 years ago. And I know for a fact 3 or 4 JPD officers lived in this neighborhood when this was not Jackson. They drove their cars home every night. I always thought it was strange then, but didn't think much about it. And it seems to be a big fuss here lately about where people live. But my flip side of that argument is, where is outside of this neighborhood and some of these along Forest Hill Road, kind of what I call the Byram end of Terry Road, Forest Hill Terry Road area, Brookwood Country Club area. Outside of this area, Eastover, Fondren, and Belhaven, there's not a whole lot of, if you make decent money in this city, there's not a whole lot of safe places to live. Especially if you're looking at schools and you have kids in public schools. I just don't fault somebody that can afford to live somewhere that wants to live there, especially if you take school districts into account and them having younger kids and they can't afford private school. Very few people can afford to live over there. And along the river, the East Jackson, Eastover, that area north of Fondren, that goes up by the Ed Center and all that, Old Canton Road. Man, that's really expensive area there. And the catch-22 is you live there and you're paying all that money and then you don't have clean drinking water, subpar policing, the road, that stretch of Old Canton Road where like North State, basically from Fondren Shopping Center there, where State Street dead ends into State Street, Old Canton Road there, up north to that high-rise condominium there at the, Meadowbrook exit. Some of the worst roads in the city.
I know.
And it's where somewhere where the most money is at in the city. It's where a lot of your guys that own car dealerships, doctors, and whatnot live because of the proximity to the hospitals. And it's some of the absolute worst roads in the area. So, all right. Let's see. Oh, hey, real quick. We've been championing all bars and restaurants opening. And Pop's around the corner. Been here since, I think, 96. Josh Steverson, one of the family members of the Pop's crew, I know is watching right now. I believe they've been open since 96, right at 25, 26 years. Well, I guess that'd be 24 years. Anyway, Pops has said, screw it, we're opening. You're just going to have to shut us down. We've been championing them, and JPD did. They came in last night, and they shut them down. They did have the courtesy to wait till about 1 a.m. So all things considered, a Thursday night, 1 a.m.
Josh said 95.
95. So they've been open 25 years.
Yes.
So they got shut down last night by JPD. They asked JPD. Now, I was not there. I did not hear this myself, but I have no reason to doubt these guys. They've been 100 about everything they've told me. JPD's, they were like, well, what about this bar? What about this bar? What about that bar? They said, well, that's not our precinct. We can't do nothing about it. So now we're not even talking about county to county. We're talking about precinct to precinct here. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, Pops is precinct 1. I know that from my years of being a South Jacksonian. So
people said, they keep saying tonight also. They did it tonight again.
They've already done it. They've already shut Pops down tonight?
That's what I'm reading.
Well, I know Pops is open, so it's awfully early, 9:54. Let's see. They came in 3 deep last night, came in 7 deep tonight, and closed us. It don't make no damn sense. We have all this murder and crime going on in Jackson, and there's this false sense of these places are spreading the COVID. And this goes back to why Chokwe's so weak and needs to be out of office. It's like the Chicago mayor today. Well, at least I saw the story today. Lightfoot came out and said that the crime in Chicago is over people's frustration with Trump's handling of the COVID response. Are you kidding? No, I didn't go. I was going to pull the numbers and just forgot. So much has been going on. I was going to pull the numbers of what the crime was in Chicago during the Obama years, just for some perspective of a time frame. Just pre-Trump. That was my point. Was what was the crime in Chicago pre-Trump and versus post-Trump? And I'm sure it's about the same. Terrible. Which I find funny, man. When I first started this page, there's a DJ. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any credit. He's from Chicago, but he claims Jackson. And He told me, he's like, we ain't gonna allow you. These are his words. We ain't gonna allow you to talk bad about Jackson and earn a living here. I was like, well, first off, screw you. I'm from here. You're not. You still claim Chicago, and you don't even live in Jackson. You live in Madison. So double screw you. Then, you don't get to tell me where I'm going to make a living at. I'll make my living right here. Again, you ain't from here, and you don't live here now. Anyway, so you're going to come from a city like Chicago so bad that you moved here. And you're going to tell me what I can and can't say about my city. My intention is not to talk bad about Jackson. We talk a lot of good. My intention is to bring attention and hold people's feet to the fire further than a 30-second news story. I love what a lot of the news channels do, but they got so much. They have time constraints. We don't. So, we're going to bring attention to stuff. You can call it talking bad about. I really don't care what you say. You can call me anything you want as long as you ain't calling me collect. So, with that said, on to the next thing. And that was part of my note here was Lightfoot had the audacity to say that Chicago's crime wave was due to people's frustration with Trump's COVID response. And the first thing I thought about, and why I even mentioned that on the show, is I cannot wait for Chokwe to say that. And it made me think about his curfew. And I was tying it back to Pops before I get too off track here. To say this is about COVID is weak. So weak. Weak as unsweet tea. And this is an opportunity to run businesses out of town that you don't want in business. Let's just say it. Let's just call it what it is. I try not to ever play the race card or bring that up. But, I think it's pretty obvious that Chokwe is targeting white-owned businesses. I think it's beyond obvious that he's targeting white-owned businesses. Say whatever you want, but look at Elton Swamp. Look at Pops.
I think he's targeting places or businesses that aren't paying them off.
Yeah, well, there's that. But, I'm guessing that these businesses aren't kicking down his door to pay them off. They would love nothing more than to catch, a Pops type business or an Elton Swamp offering to pay them off.
Right.
Then they could record that and show, bribery of an official. Yeah. I remember when that something similar went down with John Adams, who used to own some strip clubs here. He actually owned the strip club that's next to where Pops is at. And I can't remember the city councilman's name, but it was him and his son. FBI got involved. It was all over the news.
Stardust.
Stardust. Well, it was Stardust, but I can't remember the guy's name, the city councilman's name at the time. But anyway, so Jackson is littered with history of city officials and nightclub owners in bed together, figuratively and literally. I'm not going to get into all that here tonight. But I absolutely believe at this point that race does play an issue with the targeting of some of the businesses around here. I mean, especially if you ride around and look at the businesses that aren't being messed with. I have no problem with them not being messed with. I just have a problem with people being messed with. And that's what we preach here is equal opportunity everything. I don't care, white, black owned, it doesn't matter. If you're going to enforce a rule, enforce it equally or not at all. That's all we ask.
Josh says M-Bar is wide open right now. Who is that?
Well, technically M-Bar sells liquor and food, and they didn't fall under his order.
I don't know where that is. And,
they closed, they're supposed to stop at 11. So legally they're allowed to open right now.
You talking about, is it Martin's?
No, M-Bar.
Oh, okay. Well, Martin's is wide open.
Yep. So there's plenty of places that are wide open, and some fall under the guise of the order that says if you serve food, you can remain open. And in Jackson, to have liquor, you have to have food. And really in Mississippi, unless you fall into the resort status stuff. It's one of the things people don't realize about the bar business. With the exception of resort status, which the only place around here really that has resort status is Freelons and Shuckers. F. Jones has it there. The Fair Street has it. But F. Jones is the only thing on Fair Street. But Freelons fell under the Fair Street Entertainment District. Pearl is technically resort status, but they don't use it in this sense. But Shuckers is resort status, but yet they sell a ton of food. So, with that said, to have liquor in Mississippi, you have to be a restaurant. There is no distinction legally between a club and a restaurant. Liquor, you have to be a restaurant. I think it's 70% food sales or 70% non-alcoholic sales, which is food. And to get a food permit that qualifies for a liquor license, you have to have, it's either a stage 1 or a stage 3 kitchen, a vent-a-hood, deep fryers, grill. I mean, you can't just open up a sandwich shop and get a food permit and have a liquor license. You used to could, and places would just have a microwave, a little oven to do microwave pizzas and sandwiches, and they could get a liquor license. Well, they changed that sometime in the 2000s, I believe. So you have to have a real enough kitchen that you can serve real food, hot food. You got to have a vent-a-hood, long story short. And that's very expensive. They wanted to cut the BS out. That's why, there's so few places you can walk in and just get a drink and nothing to eat. Because that's a Mississippi law. So anyway, those places are the ones that can stay open.
There's a car chase on I-55 South right now.
All right, so we have a car chase in Jackson right now. But that's the thing about the difference in liquor bars and beer bars. So it was a targeting of beer bars, or pretty much it was a targeting of bars that how do I say it, weren't making the right moves. We'll just say that. Because COVID don't know the difference if you're ordering food or a beer or a mixed drink.
It's people that aren't supporting Antar.
Yeah. Whether it's legally or illegally. If you're not supporting Antar, you fell in the list. Now, strip clubs kind of fell by default into that. But the same ones I see talking about they're doing their part to help flatten the curve were wide ass open during the first flattening of the curve. Again, don't care. But don't try to pretend that you're doing your part. And that your relationship with the mayor is so special that he called you first. Probably open.
Do you know anything about his sister?
I don't want to get into talking about anybody's family.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm just going through the questions.
Yeah. Don't know anything about his sister. I know she runs a nonprofit or something for him, and there's allegedly some stuff going on there. But I don't know. That's not my specialty. So I don't want to speak on it and tell y'all wrong. Let's see. Please, what do you know about the... Okay, that was about the Lumumba sister. Yeah, Derek, I just don't know. Napoleon is way more plugged into that than me. Check out the Cypher Voice platform, and I've heard him talk about it several times. But it's kind of above my pay grade or out of my level of interest necessarily. Unless there's Jackson funds going to it, which I've heard that too.
She's on the city payroll.
Let's see. Or attached hotel, motel food isn't required then. Yeah, Chris, that's correct. And that kind of falls under quote-unquote the resort status. But there's very few places like that. Sam's Lounge is the only one in Jackson that I can think of that is attached to the hotel that's still open. You used to have bars, hotel bars. The only other one I can think of is the Holiday Inn there in Pearl with the sports bar on the side. But hell, they serve really great food there. Best cheese sticks I've ever had. Well... Yeah, best cheese sticks I've ever had. So Keisha says, "Who's chasing?" JPD has a no pursuit. That don't they? Yeah, you know what? That is a great point. So they could be chasing from Rankin or Madison County. Who knows? That's so weird, isn't it? It's like the no chase policy. So where do they draw the limit? So if I'm speeding and you want to pull me over and I just decide I want to go faster than you. How long before they tap out? I mean, I wouldn't do that because I don't speed necessarily. But anyway, transitioning. There's This is so fitting coming out of that conversation. Up to 550 people have been exposed to COVID because of a stripper.
What are you talking about?
I know. I've been sitting on this one.
You haven't said one word to me about such.
I know. I held this one as a surprise. From Outkick.com, Toronto strip club worker may have exposed 550 people to COVID. I know it's not America, but it's North America, and frankly, it's funny. Said there's sad news out of Toronto where a worker at the Brass Rail Strip Club, 3.5-star Google reviews, may have exposed 550 people to COVID. Why do I say this is sad news? Canadian contact tracers will be knocking on doors, making sure people possibly exposed are quarantining. This is going to be bad news for guys out there who wanted to come see some flesh, but now they're going to have Claude from the health ministry knocking during dinner, and wives are going to start answering the door with questions. Huge questions.
Oh, my Lord.
So let's bring that local. Hypothetical here. It's happy hour. You know, you and your buddies like, well, I'm going to lie to my wife and say we're going to Bulldog and having a drink.
Going fishing,
whatever. And they end up at Aces or Babes or Little D's or whatever the strip clubs are in Jackson now. Which is a billboard for everyone coming from South Jackson to South Jackson. Anyway, and you're all slick and you got your GPS turned off and you whatever it is you do not to get caught. And one of them end up with the COVID and they do some contact tracing. And they trace it back to your door and the well, we know JPD ain't doing this, but let's just pretend for a minute. JPD comes and knocks on the door and they're like, dum 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 dum. Oh, Mr. Edwards, we're doing some contact tracing. There was a COVID outbreak somewhere you may have been. I'm like, oh no. Or Crystal answers the door like, Miss Edwards, is your husband home? Well, yes. What's wrong, officer? Well, there was a COVID outbreak somewhere that he was at, and we're just notifying everybody so they can take precautions and possibly quarantine if they have to. Oh dear, Clay, where were you? Of course, she's from South Jackson, so she don't speak like this, but for the sake of conversation.
Everybody's saying, be careful, Clay. Be careful.
Like, Clay, where were you that you could have, did somebody come to the dealership and get you sick? Like, no, man. He was at a local strip club and I don't know, pick a stripper name. May have had COVID. Or he was at the Brass Rail, 3.5 stars on Google. And if he got a lap dance or came within contact of Dynasty or Lexus or Mercedes or whatever her name is.
You're ridiculous.
You could all have COVID now. I've got a gun sitting over here somewhere. I would be running out of my house with her chasing after me with the gun.
I would.
So anyway, just imagine the hell that is wreaking on 550 gentlemen or women, whatever your thing may be, that were at the strip club in Toronto, the Brass Rail 3.5-star Google review average. I mean, if you're going down, well, let's just be honest here. I'm curious what the Google reviews of the strip clubs are in Jackson.
I'm sure awful.
First off, do you use your real email and profile on Google to go leave a negative review of the strip club?
Somebody said, do you say COVID or chlamydia?
Either or.
So, and then Van said, so would y'all quarantine together?
I probably wouldn't be allowed to, but I guess once you're in, you're in. So that's funny. Let's look. I've got my computer up. It's Friday night. We're not doing anything. Let's see what the Google reviews are of our local strip clubs. This is terrible. I don't know how we devolved into this, but here we go. we'll start with Babes. So, Babes Gentlemen Clubs in Jackson, Mississippi. Babes has a 3.6 Google review rating with 28 reviews. Let's the first one here from Jenny Boss is a 1 star 3 days ago. So Babes was illegally opened during the mayor shutdown. It says, police raid, sat down, had barely started drinking my beer when police raided the place, and my friend and I were asked to leave.
That's not their fault, I guess.
On the way out, we asked for a refund of our $10 cover charge since we had just got there. The woman at the front door just rolled her eyes at me and pointed at the no refund sign like getting raided by the cops was just another day at Babes. I tried to talk to the manager, but he was busy getting arrested for something, and the police had everyone leave. Okay, so right up under there, Caitlin Marie. That is a real name. That is a white girl. If y'all don't know, Caitlin Marie is a white girl name.
Everybody's laughing and saying, don't do it. No.
9 months ago, Caitlin Marie left a 5-star review of Babes. The staff here is amazing. She works there. I can tell you already. I've written some fake reviews for places I've worked. So the staff here is amazing. Prices are extremely fair. They play a wide variety of music. They have everything you could possibly need, from beer, soft drinks, energy drinks. Either she works there or somebody that works there is screwing her. There is no two ways around it. Let's see. Soft drinks, energy drinks, wine coolers, food, and a vending machine. They also has packs of cigarettes and Tylenol.
The essentials.
Beautiful women, multiple private dancing options, and a welcoming atmosphere with a black heart emoji at the end. Ashley Koenig, I am not BSing. Oh no, you said you were so blunt.
Yes,
I am.
He is.
That is amazing. And I cannot believe we have not stumbled into reading reviews of local businesses sooner than this. This may be our new thing. Ricky Myers has a 1-star review. I'm very interested in how a strip club makes you so mad that you end up going to Google and leaving a 1-star review, because anybody in the business or anybody in a business knows that people always leave bad reviews before good reviews. So you are really pissed off if you go leave a 1-star review of the strip club under your real name. The cashiers and bartenders will not let you speak with the managers. Ricky's name should be Karen.
Yep.
Says the cashiers and bartenders will not let you speak with the manager at all. They say he's always busy. Look, I could go on and on with this. This is amazing. And I may have stumbled into something. Okay, now here's something funny. I'm going to leave it at this one. You know, on Google, if you do enough Google reviews, you can become a local guide. Basically a certified Google reviewer. Chuck Allen leaves a 5-star review. And he has posted 150 pictures. I'm not getting into all that. To go to Babes of Jackson on Google and pull up the reviews. But he says, got there a little early in the evening, so it was a little slow. Drink prices were great. Dances were friendly and not pushy. Private dance prices were great. The dancer named Beauty was especially friendly.
Beauty.
Sweet Jesus.
Help.
Don't click on the pictures. Don't click on the pictures. Don't click on the pictures. Clicked on the pictures. Oh, poor guy. He's got pictures of his wife and stuff up here.
Is she pregnant?
He's leaving Google reviews of strip clubs, and it's either his mother or his wife. Okay. We're not going to roll Ricky under the bus here. I mean, Chuck under the bus here any further than we already have. So, there you go. Strip club reviews on Save Jackson. If you go to the strip club, make sure not to bring home the COVID, especially if it's illegally open
Or anything else.
or anything else. I mean, it's one thing, to know you're not getting an STD. It's another thing to accidentally bring home the COVID. No, honey, I didn't get it from there. I was at the gas station. I got it from a gas pump.
Why, you got glitter all over you?
Glitter. That's probably your name, Glitter. All right. Moving along. I did not intend on a Toronto, Canada news story devolving into Clay Reid strip club reviews in Jackson. Speaking of COVID, a little update on the COVID numbers here. I'm not going to take a deep dive. They are trending in the right direction. Well, at least compared to where they were. Today, there was 944 new cases and 32 deaths. Prayers to anybody who lost a loved one or has a loved one sick. But the numbers are down, and that is a good thing. That's always a good thing. Dr. Dobbs did say in the press conference today that 489 students in Mississippi have been quarantined due to COVID. That does not mean that 489 students have COVID or have tested positive. That just means because of contact tracing, like at the strip club in Toronto, these are people that may have come in contact with somebody else that tested positive, like a teacher or whatnot. So, 489 students are in the quarantine protocol in the Mississippi public school system. It says I am turning a nice shade of red. My blood pressure is up, but not because of that. My goodness. So, I made a note here. This isn't necessarily a news story, but it's something I wanted to mention. So, look, I can get dead set on one thing. I can feel very strongly about something. And then I can absorb the data, think about it, see what's going on, and I'm allowed to change my mind publicly and say, hey, I was initially wrong about something. And after looking at it, having some time, I can look back at it and say, I've changed my mind. I don't even know necessarily about being wrong, but I'm grown enough to say I was wrong. But it could be something as simple as just me changing my mind. I've changed my mind about something. We all live in, whether we're Republican, Democrat, Christian, atheist, whatever, most of us live way more in the gray area than we do the black or white. And I'm not saying black and white is a race thing. I just mean far one way, far the other. We all live more in the middle. We just may not be able to publicly admit that about certain things because of our political beliefs, Christianity, religious beliefs, whatever. So we all kind of dig our heels into one side, and that's what we say publicly. People that know me know I do consider myself a Christian. I do consider myself a conservative. But I can't sit here. I can have fun talking about strip clubs. I've got tons of gay friends. Never bothered me. That's just something that's never bothered me. That is not my position to judge them.
It's our place to love people.
Yeah.
As Christians.
Or, period. I just don't care what somebody else does in their personal life. If you have an alternative view on life or alternative sexuality or whatever your case may be, that's on you. To each their own. You can make an argument about it being, thrown in front of our children and whatnot, and maybe us preferring to have more say-so as parents as to what our children are exposed to, and maybe not a young mind not being influenced, by something. But I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just sitting here telling you how most people probably think that don't live the same lifestyle. And that's way off base from where I was starting here, but that's just something I wanted to get off my chest because I had some comments said about me earlier in the week that I don't want to say they offended me, but they just bothered me because I know me. And I know how I feel about stuff. And I think you should be allowed to joke around on the internet about a guy twirling a baton. That's funny. So anyhow, with that said, I was really strong opinionated about teachers needed to, I think I said, shut the F up and go to work or find another job. And I've had a little time to digest that. And I have changed my opinion on that a little bit. I do think our kids need to be in school. I don't think anybody disagrees that our kids need to be in school, generally speaking. Where I have changed my mind on is, especially in the JPS area, there's a lot going on. I don't know that some of these teachers, statewide, but I live in Jackson. This page is called Save Jackson, so we're going to discuss Jackson. It may not be safe for them to go back. Listening to Napoleon's show earlier today, and just the information that I've been able to take in over the last month, I may lean more towards maybe the teachers do need to strike. I know according to a teacher today, they can't unless 50% agree to. And look, you can do whatever. If no teachers show up to work, who are they going to replace y'all with? It may be time for teachers to lay their foot down. I'm not saying that's what's right for every district, but I think I've changed my mind about how I feel about it. As disappointed as I am about them canceling high school football in Jackson, and how much of a negative impact it can have on the kids here. If they can't keep the adults safe, I guess I'm not for it, but I don't disagree with it. Does that make sense? Can I not like something and understand it at the same time? Mm-hmm. I don't like it, but I understand it.
Yeah.
So with that said, I have kind of turned the corner a little on my thoughts about teachers just needing to go to work or find something else to do. That's probably an extreme point of view, but I'm a passionate person. So I just wanted to say that. I think, we're all allowed to change our minds about stuff. So I still think all the kids need to be in school. But I think the school district needs to do right by everybody. And if there are concerns, figure it out. It ain't that hard. It just takes good leadership. And it just seems to be something that's really lacking around here. So that was just something I wanted to get off my chest there. Kind of closing thoughts. Do we have any questions? Anybody got any questions they want to ask? Completely off subject, on subject? Do y'all want me to read more strip club reviews?
No. Andy said, dude, your old lady is there with you. You need to hush and take a nap.
No, she's fun. We have good conversations like this. Oh, you know what? There is one thing, and I'm glad I had a buffer here talking about this. This is really serious. I added it late and forgot to write it on my notes here. On the Clarion Ledger, the story reads, the Jackson mayor acknowledges city's failures after Francis Fortner's death, but city is fighting deposition efforts. So the city admits that they were in the wrong on Francis. And if you don't remember, Francis was the girl that got killed there on Ridgewood Road. Her convertible car hit an uncovered manhole, and it flipped, and she lost her life the day before her graduation. I want to say it was 2 years ago, back May, late April, early May, made 2 years. Tragic. Yeah, it was 2018. Tragic situation there. We all remember it. It was just terrible, terrible deal. I'm going to copy the link to the news story here.
Share it.
And share it in the comments so everybody can see it. You can go check it out. I know the Clarion Ledger has a paywall, so you'll have to kind of deal with that.
Chris says, my wife is a daycare director. Not one teacher or child has gotten the virus. They've been open the entire time. They have a protocol in place.
Yeah, the daycares have, and the flip side to the daycares, and I 100% agree, and that's been one of my arguments that I've made publicly about this. Daycares are privately owned and operated, and I guess they're state regulated, but they're privately owned and operated. So that daycare theoretically only has to worry about that daycare,
right? Not
a whole district and all the intricacies of that. I understand that, and it's just as far as from a simple spreading of the virus.
I think daycares and children and outbreaks. I think it's a great what's the word I'm looking for? Not experiment, but case study. It's a great case study of how it may potentially work in elementary school, middle school, and high school. Mm-hmm. The problem when you get into high school, and especially into colleges, is there's so much interacting, and people really get outside of that bubble. And when you're in junior high, especially, you go to school, and we'll say junior high and below. School, home, school, home, school, home. Very little running around. Mm-hmm. You get into high school, you got more stuff going on. You're going other places, part-time jobs. You're dealing with the public more.
You're riding a bus.
You're right, yeah, bus. A lot more stuff going on, and then you get into college, and it's a damn free-for-all. You're basically an adult on top of going to a school every day, as far as your public interactions. So, I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful of people who have gotten really sick and ill of the virus, especially people who have lost a loved one. But I do think that we have to remind ourselves this is not the plague. This is a virus with a 98+% recovery rate. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of me that just feels like, and I know I contradict myself a lot here, but like most of y'all, I'll probably change my mind on things.
I think we're all still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think that the flu has been replaced with a stronger version of the flu. Because I haven't heard anybody say they've had the flu. And everybody's either had COVID or they hadn't been sick. So, we don't do none of this for the flu. We didn't do any of this for H1N1. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have, but we didn't. And the world kept going. I think this is just... If this was not... I'm just curious if this was not an election year, how the reaction to this would have been from the mainstream media and from left-wing politicians trying to remove Trump. Or hell, let's just flip the script. Let's pretend that Clinton had won. What would the reaction be if it wasn't Trump in office? I don't think conservatives would have been fighting this fight to close everything down, just being pro-capitalist. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it would be interesting to see. I'm glad we're not. I'll take this, over Hillary being president. Imagine how bad it would be.
Ugh, I don't even want to think about it.
I think that's one thing we can all agree on, right?
Yeah.
Whether you like Trump or not. We'll avoid that conversation. But
we'll go back to that another time.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit that another time. Let's see. There's no follow-up to college football. Right now, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12, and Conference USA, go Conference USA, and the ACC. And if you're not familiar with the ACC, I'm sorry, AAC. So what? SEC, ACC, Big 12, Conference USA, Sun Belt, and AAC are all still full systems go. I think they'll follow. I think now the SEC is kind of the leader of the pack, and if they decide to play, everybody plays. If they decide to sit it out, people are going to sit out. That's my opinion. But kudos to the smaller conferences. Think about this. Let's just pretend for a second that the big boys do sit out. Man, what an opportunity for these smaller conferences to play. I don't know how their budgets work out, if they can even afford to do it. Or if the TV networks like ESPN and them step up and say, hey, we need content. We're going to cover the cost. Let's play. Man, talk about being able to create a fan base and be all eyes on you. Tupac would be proud. All eyes on you. But so the AAC has Memphis, Central Florida, and then the Conference USA, of course, is Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss, schools of that ilk. Look, I told y'all last night, if we could have football, I would be acceptable with an Ole Miss national title this year, and I hate Ole Miss. But if it meant knowing that Ole Miss was going to win a national title is the selling point to have football, we could hang it up there with their other fake national titles, and put an asterisk beside it, and I'd be okay with it. Yeah, Eileen, we finally got Crystal on here in full color. Not just hiding over on the couch. She's been easing into it this week, and people have been complimentary of her, and her family told her that the shows were great and stuff. And of course, the shows were great. We put on a great product here. I kid. So she's been easing into it, and I'm very proud of her because Crystal's not the person that loves the camera. She'd rather be behind the scenes. So I'm really proud of her and thankful. It makes it a lot easier to sit on here and talk when you have somebody to talk to, or that talks back to you. I have people to talk to, but when you have somebody that talks back to you and keeps you in check, it's a much funner ordeal.
I'm gonna say hey Christy. Christy Freeman.
Just kind of reading some comments here. It says, folks here in Birmingham, they are pushing to keep it placed through flu season. Brian, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I missed another comment. Mandy says, I'm so ashamed of you. I hope Bully haunts you in your dreams. That's just because of me being a State fan. Ole Miss is the equivalent of the virus. War Eagle. Chris, amen. If coronavirus was a school, it would definitely be Ole Miss. Ray says, go Tigers. LSU fan. Shannon says, we're great. Thank you, Shannon. We appreciate that. Like I said, hopefully we can get a new logo and everything, and it can be both of us doing Jackson Uncensored. Edward Squared here.
We need to find that picture of us, that caricature.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Yeah, we were in San Antonio, and we got one of those caricatures done of us at Dave and Buster's, or Buster and Dave's. Or
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. Last year we went to go see Gardner Minshew play his last college football game in the Alamo Bowl. Mm-hmm. And had a good time. San Antonio's got to be one of the cleanest, nicest cities I've ever been to.
That was fun.
If you've never been to San Antonio, once all this stuff, the dust settles and they allow people to have a life again, I highly recommend going to San Antonio. Go in the fall or winter too. It's really nice. I mean, it's a little chilly, but it's only so cold in South Texas. So kind of like Mississippi. Let's see. Oh, Brian says talking about the mask order. Yeah. Did y'all see yesterday where Biden and Harris are now saying they're requiring people to wear masks for the next 3 months? Again, have they forgot that they have zero say-so in what people do? They're not the president. Their whole thing. I watched I didn't even watch. I just saw a picture of their press conference today that they did, and it's really not even a press conference. They just they sit up there like this, except they're on opposite ends of the table, and it looks like something from the Orson Welles 1984. I won't say it's Orson Welles. Anyway, the movie 1984. I mean, it looks very crazy. Not Orson Welles went 1984, but anyway, it looked so New World Order-ish, very spooky. And they had her, if you're looking at the screen, she was on this side. And, if you read, the top of the ticket, Biden-Harris, you would think Biden-Harris. And we all know that she's really going to be the president if they win. And that is a scary thought. Scary thought. There was something else I saw today. I talked about it last night. I talked about California trying to repeal Proposition 16, and so basically California could legally be racist and eliminate the laws for that. Make my note here. Affirmative action. California is trying to abolish affirmative action, and then it comes out today that I think it's Yale or Harvard, one of them, are facing major lawsuits for basically being racist towards Asians and white Americans, and trying to keep them out of the school. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. It is a crazy world out there right now. I just need to leave that alone. Anyway, Google California repealing Proposition 16. Don't take my word for it. Read it. It's scary as hell. Kamala, whatever her name is, Harris, is from California, and she's a politician there now. These are things that spread. We don't need that. Our minority friends, nobody needs it. Nobody needs to be able to be turned down because, like, nope, we've met our quota of whatever race you are. Mm-hmm. That's terrible. And it really seems, this is weird. I didn't know that that we were raging war with our Asian friends, but it really seems to be geared towards Asians and high-end schools. Because, look, if this is the most racist thing I ever say, I'm willing to go on tape saying it. Our Asian friends are very smart. And apparently they have no problem getting into schools. So it's become an issue. And they're trying to keep them, they're trying to be able to say, no, we've met our quota. That's the meanest thing I've ever said. Or if that goes on record as being the meanest thing I've ever said, I can fight my way out of that corner. I called y'all smart. Very smart.
Right.
Anyway, I could not get into a private college. I don't have enough money to get into a private college. So look, we're going to wrap it up. This has devolved into me talking about buying my way into a private college. I want to thank Crystal for sitting in for the whole show. Hopefully I can talk her into doing this more often and we can make this a co-host deal. And we've enjoyed it. We want to thank y'all all for watching. Please share this video. Tag some friends in the comments. We're always trying to grow the channel. That's what it's all about. The more people we can get this message out to, the more we can save Jackson and promote businesses and do everything we're doing. I've got a great sponsor coming on at the end of the month. I'm really excited about it. Some details coming soon. We're always looking for people who want to sponsor the show. Well, I'm going to be giving you 5-6 nights a week of content, not to mention everything else that we do. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there should be a button right under this video that says Become a Supporter. $10 a month. You can cancel it anytime. There's extra content available for you guys. But at the end of the day, it's not so much about the extra content as it is you appreciating what we do and what we put out there for you. And if you can help us out any, we appreciate it. If you can't, we're not going to stop doing it, and we're not going to kick you off the page. So, but hey, if you're feeling froggy, please jump. We would absolutely appreciate it. So y'all have a blessed night, and let's hope like hell that no more football gets canceled. We need football.
Yeah.
We need kids in school. We need football. So thank y'all, and again, blue collar versus everybody. We're all blue collar. Oh. This is the unprofessional part where I have to get up to cut the camera off.
You ought to let me do that.
Say something country for us. Let me do that.
Don't ask.